Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, thirst trap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight, unapologetic. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbait. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad. Let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad.
Welcome one and all to an episode of Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. I am with one Mondell Robinson. You're rocking with the best. What's up, Mondell?
What's up, Marcus, man? It's good to see you when the stars are out, bro. And I ain't talking about the Mets. I'm talking about the real stars. What you been up to, bro?
Hey, listen, man. I've been doing well. I went camping this weekend. Jeep camping and went off roading. When you need to go camping in order to figure out if you have everything, like if you don't, you never know what you need for camping until you go camping. So remind me to get an air mattress next time or a cot, because sleeping on the ground is not necessarily the best thing for your back, but it was centering, and I had a good time, man. And I also did some political stuff as we talked about earlier. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. My soul is full right now. I'm in Jamaica. I just left a grave digging, which was kind of amazing. It's amazing how we could be, in another on another continent, in another space, and Black people are the same. You know what I'm saying? And in America, Black communities don't have grave diggings where you go celebrate the digging of a grave and people serve food, play music, and remember the life of the one that just passed. But we have something extremely similar, like when we go to the graveyard after the funeral and we sit there, and then the close family may stay around longer and drink and laugh a little bit. So it was amazing to see me this far away from home, but also see so many people that remind me of my family. So soul is heavy, but also reassured that Black people are the same. And then speaking of Black people are being the same, Marcus, I don't even think we need to play around. We could jump right into it.
You're absolutely right. But before we start, I do have one thing.
Go ahead, bro.
Man, I love you, Mondell Robinson.
I love you too, fam.
Real talk, man. Real talk. You know what I mean? That's my dog right there, Nation. I don't care if y'all love him or hate him. That's my dude right there. He's fighting real hard for our people, and we always got to keep it grinding. And I got some updates for y'all within the next couple of weeks about some of my grind too. But we're gonna get into it. Go ahead, Mondell. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, man. I was just gonna say, man, we are being reminded that America has little to no tolerance for Black suffering, Black pain, and that Blackness, whether they want us to believe that we are different because of geopolitical borders, that our brothers and sisters from different countries, from the South and from the East, are not the same as us. They are treating them equally bad. What I'm talking about, Marcus, is the way our Haitian brothers and sisters are being treated at the southern border in Texas. We are less than 4 generations removed from slavery, and in my case, 1 or 2 generations removed from when they were lynching brothers and sisters and children as well in this country. To see white men on horses, or white presenting men on horses whipping Black bodies, is treacherous for my fucking soul. And to know that the federal government is responsible for it is too much, too many reminders that, while voting right and the suppression of votes is important, it is so much more shit ailing Black people that we don't make mainstream culture. The fact that so many more news stations covered this white boy who killed this white girl, which we knew anyway, and people just didn't want to say it. So many people talking about that versus the inhumane treatment at which the Haitian brothers and sisters are being treated down south is unbelievable and also indicative of America's distastefulness for the black soul. These brothers and sisters are living under the bridge, seeking asylum. And before anybody say anything slick in our chat, you should know that the only way you can get asylum in America is to make it to America. So to see these guys being, women and men, non-gender conforming people being kicked and whipped, telling them, screamed at them, telling them to go back to Mexico is disgusting because it's not how the process works. So if these people are going to be met with this kind of fire at the border when they're only doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. I got a video before I even say anything. I'm gonna rock this video real quick, and then we can kind of go into it. It's a tough day politically to be a Black American, Black person across the diaspora. It is, and I don't think many people really realize how much trauma has been enacted and how much trauma is actively happening at the same exact time. This is one of the worst political days in Black history today. And I'm happy that we went on today to discuss these things, because if you are a person who is not an African American, not a part of the Black diaspora, you might just think, oh, that's bad news. But organizing promises weren't kept today. American democracy and the basis of America for what is supposed to stand for African Americans, for Black people across the world, was not kept up today. The ethos of what America is supposed to be was not kept today, and we got hit with a left and we got hit with a right, and we're going to go into it. But I just wanted everybody to know that there's not much left for us to, like. We don't have to explain our criticisms of anybody anymore. We don't have to yell. We don't have to justify it. If you are African American, moderate, conservative, or progressive, you don't have to explain shit to anybody. And if you're upset today, and if you're not upset today, then it shows that your priorities, when it comes down to fighting for the fundamental rights of people, not just Black people, but people across America, your fundamental rights, you don't want that. You want something different. I'm gonna run into this video real quick.
Agents at the U.S. border with Mexico have begun moving thousands of Haitian migrants sheltering under a bridge in the Texas town of Del Rio. The increasingly poor conditions under the Del Rio International Bridge, which connects the Texas city with Mexico, led the Department of Homeland Security to accelerate flights to Haiti and other destinations within the next 72 hours. The DHS over the weekend said some 2,000 people were removed to other immigration processing stations on Friday as the town has been overwhelmed by an influx of Haitian and other migrant groups. The department said the transfers will continue to ensure that migrants are, quote, swiftly taken into custody, processed, and removed from the United States, consistent with our laws and policy. But many, like Haitian migrant Alex Rosier, fear returning to their homeland.
If I am deported now, I'll die in Haiti. Why? Because there's no security in Haiti. There are bandits. There is civil war every day. It's very complicated because there is no leadership in Haiti. There is nothing.
While migrants seeking jobs and safety have been making their way to the U.S. for months, it is only in recent days that the number converging on Del Rio has drawn widespread attention, posing a humanitarian and political challenge for the Biden administration.
So,
can we just fucking the coverage, the way we cover it? Like, these are Black bodies. This is.
I look for a stronger video, Mondale. I couldn't find one. But go ahead.
No, I'm saying it ain't your fault. It's the horrible state of news in this fucking country. That ain't your fault.
Yeah. So first, graphically, right? Clickbaity political thirst trap has always been an ally to every community that's oppressed and every community that's not oppressed, really, except for people who are oppressors. Meaning that if you are a Latinx American, We believe in fair immigration laws. We have never been against that, right? When you look at women's bodies women to be able to take care of their own bodies and having choice, we support that. LGBTQIA rights, we support that. I gotta say something. We support them, but a lot of them don't support us. And what makes me say that right now at this very point is this right here. During elections, we are consistently asked to hold our nose and when they get elected, hold them accountable, right? And the same people who push that to us consistently are the quietest people right now. You can't hear a peep out of these people. The whole thought process of get them elected and hold them accountable is officially over with now. It's officially over with. You can't sell that to me anymore. Mondale, they can't sell that to me anymore. And the reason why they can't sell that to me anymore is because these same people, and I want to go down a list of them. I should have wrote the list out, but I want to go down a list of people who literally, I have lists of people who literally said, hold them accountable. Marcus, we know you're progressive. We know that you this, blah, 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 blah. But at this point, when black people are at the border, they are quiet because of the administration that we have. The Democratic administration, instead of being about what's right and what's wrong, when you see black people getting whipped and that doesn't piss you off, what kind of human being are you? What kind of person are you? I know what kind of person you are. You're a flipper. You are a protagonist. You are an instigator. You are a capper, cappity, capistan. You mother. I'm trying my hardest to be cool about it.
I don't even think you need to be cool about it. I think here's what's tragic, bro. I don't think the brother that was speaking, that was interviewed, there was no hyperbole in that statement. He will die in Haiti for all those reasons. And I think the only thing that we didn't talk about was America's meddling. He didn't mention this, but America's meddling in Haitian politics has a role to play in where we find Haiti at right now. The fact that Haiti is 90 miles south of our border, and and we allow them to be so poor is absolutely disgusting when we send so much money to other parts of this world. I will go a step further and say this. The idea that people are talking about people that are seeking asylum are being put on planes and sent back to Haiti. We don't send people back to dangerous spots. That's against our policies. So when the journalist said they'll be sent back and processed and sent back according to our policies, it's against our policies to send people back to dangerous places. This is why we allow people to stay here while they're seeking asylum until they're processed. So it's absolutely disgusting that lie has been propagated, or is being propagated even by the media. This is why I was saying it's so disgusting that the media carry on in this manner, man. I am sick. I am sick, not just about like the elect me and hold me accountable argument, Margaret, because I saw Eller says that accountability left the building. I don't think it's ever been in the building, but we have a wonderful space right now. And that space is the Democrats have really fucked up. They have less than a year now, or a little over a year, before they do something massive, or black people are going to let them get unelected.
Mondale, I got a question for you. What does and I asked this on Facebook. I know you saw that. I know you read my Facebook post. So I'm gonna ask you on this platform. What does the Biden administration say to black people in 2024 in the re-election? What do they say? That's a question I really want you to answer. Like, and can they say that without gaslighting us? Can they actually do that at this point?
Well, this is what they can say. Oh, I knew we blew the first fucking year, but did you see? We did this, and this in the next 3. So the next 3 years they about to do something big, because this year they blew every opportunity they had to do something big. They allowed Joe Manchin to derail it, or the Republicans to derail it. So They can't tell us nothing about their first year. So they better the next 3. They better have something powerful up their sleeves. And if they lose control of the Senate or the House or both, we know damn well Biden's going to be a one-term president.
Well, I mean, Haiti, the Haitian immigration situation is one of the most important foreign policy situations in American history, and especially for Democrats. I ran campaigns in South Florida. I ran, and I have courted the Haitian American vote before, and I want you guys to know this, America. Haitian people vote. They vote a lot. They change elections, especially in Florida, especially for Congress, especially for local elections. Haitian American voters have a place in America. And screw all that replacement theory BS that the Republicans are trying to push, saying that we're trying to allow Haitians in the country so that we can replace white men. To be honest with you, white men have been on the downfall for a couple of years right now because y'all ain't reproducing enough. It is what it is. I mean, so don't come at us like we're wrong. And numbers support that. What I'm saying to you is, and I'm saying this also to, I'm going to say this also to my progressive friends. You know, like I said on, like I say on the internet all the time. Don't scream to me about Medicare for all when people are getting whipped at the border. Black people consistently have bigger problems than the surface level. Let me make sure that this classism happens first. And I'm not going against Medicare for all. What I'm saying to you is that there are life and death priorities right now. Yes, Medicare for all has life and death situations, but not direct murder. Not direct sending people back to countries that they're about to get killed. Why aren't we seeing the same fever and the same fervor and the same fire and the same passion about forced to vote when it comes down from these progressives also that you do from about the Haitian American border crisis, which it is, right? Which concerns me more right now because people who look at like me, people who are trying to make a better place for themselves, people who are trying to actually live the American dream that these same white folks who have a problem with them actually got to justify and do when they left England when this country was started. Why can't we have that? We are literally replicating escape enslavement pictures with whips and chains, and we've all seen it, and I don't even want to post that. Where's your fire, progressives? Where's your pain, progressives? Where's your hurt, progressives? Where's your mouthpiece, progressives? Where's the 1.5 hour Jimmy Dore special? Where's that? It's nowhere to be found because as soon as you see someone with a black skin tone that does not necessarily center and forward your issue first, you want to ignore it.
Well, I mean, I think Marcus, I think you're giving Jimmy Dore too much credit. Jimmy Dore is not a progressive. I think we need to say that. And I don't give a fuck how many trolls he have on the internet and how many people behind me. He's a comedian that saw a lane and stole it, and that just shows the appetite for whiteness to hear white voices and then mute black voices, because he ain't said shit that black progressives ain't been saying without the dumbness that's associated with him. So I think I'm tired of people calling Jimmy Dore a progressive.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
you're right.
You know, damn well, him or Rogan ain't no progressive, so they can stay over there with that bullshit, and white people can be comfortable listening to him. That ain't what it is, though. Fact of the matter is, if you're not talking about black issues, you're not really talking about progressive issues. You're talking about shit that white people want to talk about, and the problem with talking about shit that white people want to talk about is it's not explicitly talking about black people, and we know what happens when they do that, i.e. the New Deal, which they call the most progressive piece of legislation in this country history. White progressives wanted to talk about that like it was a cat's meow, but it excluded black people in some cases, and in other cases, it absolutely devastated our communities. The highway systems running straight through Detroit, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, some parts of Florida, some parts of North Carolina, some parts of everywhere black people were. So we know that when we're not explicitly talking about black people, the least amongst these, then we're not talking about policies that's going to benefit everybody in this country. So, Marcus, I'm going to push back only on the idea that some of these bastards on the internet and some of our friends are progressive, when in actuality, they're moderates themselves.
You know what? I agree. I'll take that pushback, and I even add one more thing to this one, because first off, that pushback was, you're right. You're absolutely right. Here's something that I wanted to bring up. The voting conundrum. because I'm going to say something that no one really wants to talk about. Yes, there is no show on the internet that goes in on a CB Congressional Black Caucus like clickbaity political thirst trap. We give two fucks about it. Now, but let me tell you, when they write, they write. And y'all got an election issue. Us progressives, I mean, well, some progressives have an election issue. You know what that election issue is? The CBC actually is trying to do something about the border crisis. Something.
Hold on.
I didn't say it broke up. The
CBC,
the CBC is trying to do something about the border crisis. So as much as we trash them, they're actually trying to do, some of them are trying to do their jobs. So what are you going to do when you haven't centered these black issues, and the CBC can run back to black people who you need in 2024, progressive gala guy for president, who you need in 2022, progressive Congress Senate person, who you need. What are you going to do, progressives, when you run for office and you can't say anything about the CBC because they literally have tried to do more for black people in this situation than your progressive all-star? I'm not a big fan of the CBC PAC. But when they show up,
yeah, they have the lowest approval rating out of all black groups, like the NAACP, Black Lives Matter. CBC has they were at like 16 or 17%.
Yeah, right. So if their approval rating is so low, they got to do something. And then you haven't seen. Here's the funny part: we sign on to everybody else's stuff. All the CBC members signed on to the Asian crime bill, Asian hate bill. All the CBC members signed on to supported every single thing else that's going on. And I just don't see the fever and the fervor from just everyone else. Where are you? We had a bad day in politics, man. And if I was wrong, Mondale, because I know you and my transitions.
I saw it coming.
Yeah,
in politics, I knew you were about to switch subject.
Hey,
so
that's what I mean. But that's what happens when you do over 400 shows together.
Hey, no joke. But listen, before you switch shows,
yeah,
let's break an algorithm. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, let's focus on that because I think it's a good thing to do. Like, share, and subscribe. Click Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap if you're on Facebook. If you're on Twitter, retweet. Follow us. If you're on Facebook, make sure you like us. If you are on YouTube, make sure you send us a super chat. Make sure you we will promote you. Make sure that you follow us. Make sure that you follow my personal company, and that is restorativeroots.net. And support black cannabis companies. And go over there and buy you a t-shirt real quick, man. There's really dope stuff. And just quick announcement: I am dropping some different things that are not necessarily cannabis, but they are very cannabis related that you can go ahead and get. And it's completely legal in these United States of America. Mondale.
Yo, you can find me at Mondale Robinson everywhere and Black Male Voter Project everywhere. Also, please, on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, share, and also you can super chat, just like Jonathan just did. And if you're on Facebook, please write a post right now. Invite your friends. Let's do it. But yeah, Marcus, go ahead with that rough transition you were about to put us through.
It was so grimy. It was so, rough like my hair yesterday before I got this clean cut.
I see you got a cut.
I'm trying to bring it back, man. I'm trying to bring it back.
See, cuts ain't my thing right now.
You look good the last time you were on here, man. You look good now.
Last time, you bastard. Marcus' toes don't match.
They don't, man. I told you I can climb up a tree like this right here with my feet alone.
Marcus' toes don't match. Last time.
It does feel as if the dispute is only over the dollar figure, that it is not a dispute over the priorities. It's just how much to spend to fund those priorities.
Yeah, and that's part of the question, Chuck. There's some members who would rather scale down the buckets, the issues that are included in this bill, but keep the time frame of how long things are. They don't want some of these things that are underfunded, and then they create cliff after cliff in Congress. That's a big position among the new Democrats in the House of Representatives, like the kind of a moderate group of Democrats. And then others are saying that perhaps the easiest way is just to shorten the time frame from 10 years to 5 years. That'll cut the price tag in half. And so that's another part of this negotiation as well. Very few people are publicly saying this, but a lot of people are privately saying this, that $3.5 trillion is not going to be the price tag, that it's going to have to come down. But progressives already think that $3.5 trillion is already a compromise. And so this is extremely complicated. This is like the messiest part of the sausage making. And then, Chuck, if I can just say one thing, we have a little bit of breaking news here, which is also another problem to the Biden agenda, is that police reform talks are officially dead. I just got word that Senator Booker has called Senator Scott and said that he's done negotiating, that they cannot come to an agreement. And so this is just another problem facing the Democrats of this big, ambitious, bold agenda that they're struggling to get done.
Actually, so, you know what? First of all, let's be clear. She shouldn't be talking about progressives, because clearly her this idea that if we're just arguing about different priorities or more money, that is a big deal. And more money for services is actually fucking a progressive idea. When we offer more money for social services to protect and cover more people from being hurt by institutions and environmental markers, fuck yeah, that's a progressive idea. So that's dumb for her to say. And the stuttering in her voice has showed me that she's not ready for that conversation. Furthermore, Marcus.
Love them furthermore. Come on, say it again, dude.
You already know it's about to get thick.
Furthermore,
this idea that negotiating is done does not wreak a problem for the Democrats. The fact that Cory Booker called off negotiation actually says something good about moderates. So I feel a little bit better, because I was speaking to people in Congress about this, and they were like, they were kind of hush lip a little bit about it. But the good thing is, check this out. If the Democrats called off and said, listen, Tim Scott, black man from South Carolina, if you don't see the importance in fucking being realistic on what we can do for police reform, then we're done talking to you. That means the Democrats are at a point where they might go forward without the motherfucking Republicans. And that's what I'm excited about, because if we can get legislation done, we don't really need Republicans. Oh, by the way, let's kill the races as this is another opportunity and another point for me to say we don't need the filibuster. We have the majority. The voters voted us in. Use the motherfucker. Point blank, period.
Dwayne Golden head looked like a circumcised penis. All right. So
Dwayne looks like an uncircumcised penis.
Yeah, uncircumcised.
Hey, and since I see him in the chat. I saw him in the chat. Oh, you sloth with ass. Dwayne
Golden. Hey, Dwayne Golden. He double dribble.
Dwayne smell like Maryland blue crab sandwiches with the salt shell.
Dwayne Golden plays basketball and has never dribbled. He just runs around the court with the ball in his hand. Talk about pass it to me, coach. He looked like a baller. He dressed like a baller. He got all.
We love you, Dwayne. We love you.
We love you, Dwayne. Hey, listen. Okay. First, let me go surface level. When it comes down to police reform, guys, I personally talk to thousands of people, and my organization that I work for also talk to hundreds of thousands of people. And one of the talking points that we use to get folks elected in 2020 and in the special election, Joe Biden, Ossoff, Warnock, was police reform. And if that's off the table, back to what Mondale said, and y'all don't do something between now and any of the next elections, y'all are screwed personally here in the state of Georgia, and you are screwed in Arizona. And the reason why I say that too is because these same talking points have reverberated around Latinx and Black communities across the nation. We did this. What politicians and what DC doesn't get in their insular circle, that what we all understand completely, is something very simple, and that is that murdering Black people, specifically Black men, the death of George Floyd got Biden, Ossoff, and Warnock elected. All right, let me repeat that so y'all can clip me. The death of George Floyd got Biden, Ossoff, and Warnock elected. That's it. So the majority in the Senate came from George Floyd. The majority in the House came from George Floyd. The opportunity for the Asian hate crime passage to happen happened because of George Floyd. The child tax credit that we got happened because George Floyd died. Everything Democratic that has happened since Biden has got into office happened because George Floyd died. That's it. He got murdered by police. You think common sense would actually take a larger role when it comes down to who you are really accountable to for this election, for you being in office, for you being there in the first place. But you know what? When it comes down to actually doing things to make sure that Black, brown, and indigenous folks die a little less, you can't do it. Now, I understand the negotiation process because qualified immunity was the thing that Joe Manchin had a problem with.
Shit, it didn't even matter if he had a problem with it. Fucking before they start negotiating back in the winter. You remember we were still locked down, Marcus, when we was doing the show every fucking day. Clyburn had, before Republicans even started negotiating, Clyburn said, "Oh yeah, qualified immunity could go away for negotiating."
Okay, so check this out. Isn't it ironic, Mondale, that on the day that Black people are getting beat and whipped at the border, that somehow we bring up Clyburn?
Ain't it ironic?
That's the most ironic thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Samuel Jackson played Clyburn the best in the movie with Django. That was the best Clyburn I ever seen.
Isn't it a shame that he spoke about we don't need to end qualified immunity, and now other Democrats? I mean, listen, I've had my criticism of Cori Bush, but he wants to end. I mean, not Cori Bush. Corey's dope. Senator Booker. Senator Booker wants to end qualified immunity. Let's get that right. His moderate behind wants to end qualified immunity because he understands the ethos and the antithesis of why Black people get killed. It is a very simple math problem. If you have to hold them accountable, there'll be a little less loose lips. But these Republicans and Joe Manchin and the people who believe that qualified immunity needs to happen, it's not a financial thing with them. All you got to do is act right. All you got to do is follow the rules and play by the playbook. But they want the playbook to be harassment and control and violence. That's what they want the playbook to be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Everything else that they say is cap. Everything else that they say is cap. So to me, if you don't support ending qualified immunity, you might as well be on the border whipping people yourself. You might as well have your badge on. Have you go ahead and put your badge on, put your police badge on, and go ahead and shoot Black people at your will, right? And then fall back and think that it's perfectly fine because I'm going to get a paid vacation and my retirement, no matter what. Exactly.
I mean, I think it is Marcus. There are many demographics that are responsible for for Georgia's 2 Democratic senators this past election cycle.
That's right.
But no one can argue this fact right here. More than 144,000 Black men that did not vote for Barack Obama in 2012, Stacey Abrams in 2018, or any other federal election voted for Democrats in the primary. We're talking about brothers that were old enough to vote that did not show up. These are not kids. These are grown men who had a distaste in their mouth for politics so much so that they didn't vote for the first Black candidate. They gave the Democrat, that 144,000 is larger than the margin by which we won. So people can argue all they want to. I'm telling you, qualified immunity was one of the number one issues for Black men, not just in Georgia, but around this country. And these weren't conversations where we had a group of Black men from all over the country on the phone that normally votes. These are different conversations we had in different spaces, in these local spaces, with no cameras, with no white people, with no women, with no prompt questions. And while black men don't readily use qualified immunity in their terminology or their lexicon, what they are describing, how cops can kill them and not be punished, is definitely the definition of qualified immunity. So when you get elected saying that you're going to be responsible and hold people accountable, and black men see that the number one issue, or I should say it this way, one of the only issues they went to the poll for, get disregarded in this way, don't think you're going to incite them, because these are the people that sat the last 5 federal elections the fuck out. Don't think they won't sit the next 5 out.
We played right into conservatives' hands. We did. We changed. We allowed a unproven talking point, and it's unproven, that defund the police caused massive losses in the Democratic Party. We
that ain't,
no,
that ain't
listen, but we allowed the left, the Democrats allowed this thought process of defunding the police is bad when they have no evidence whatsoever. Only angry Republicans and only angry moderate white people who can go and play golf with Republican. And let me back up first. Let me back up, because I feel bad doing that. I can't cap. I went camping with a bunch of Republicans, and after I was finished camping with them, they were like, you know what? Your points about defunding the police are actually true. And the biggest talking point was, y'all all seem like y'all are libertarians. If you guys were asking for defunding the police, you would support it. And they were like, ooh, wow. So what I'm saying to you is, we allowed them to control a narrative that was completely untrue, unscientifically proven by any measure whatsoever. And then now Republicans are equating qualified immunity, ending qualified immunity, to defunding the police. An unaccountable, unplanned talking point of ending qualified immunity is now if we end qualified immunity, we're defunding police. We're defunding the misaccountability and the under accountability of police officers who do negative things in the streets. It's that simple. It's that simple.
I mean, listen, first of all, let me just say something. I have no Republican friends. I don't know how you do that. I would be in jail for murder.
Friends.
Time, how many people? Oh, touche. Yeah, touche. That is true. Yeah,
it can be.
Yeah. But here's what I would say. My thing is, it's simple. This is not even like, the Republicans have horrible principles, and I'm not saying this as a critique of their persons, but I am saying it as a critique of their persons, because they support policies that are fucking killing people. That's not hyperbole. Literally, people are dying from Republican parties. If you look at what happened at the border under the past president, and also what these current Republicans that are elected support. If you look at what just happened in Texas with the ending abortion, basically, that's gonna kill people. That's gonna hurt people. Also, shout out to the doctor who challenged the law by performing an abortion in Texas, and that's going to launch the case to challenge the legality, the constitutionality of Texas law. So I'm super excited about that. Also, if you consider the idea that Republicans all over this country are passing legislation to prevent people from voting, then yeah, I think they are fucked up. So I don't fuck with them. Also, I'll go a step further and say this: Democrats. This is gonna get me fucking trouble.
No, man. Well, then Texas.
Old Democrats don't even understand. They've been in office so long that they don't even understand that people that vote don't even think like them anymore. Like, they're not the majority. And I think that's what's wrong with the Democratic Party, all of its auxiliaries and all of its consultants. The people that the way they used to play politics to win elections is no longer acceptable, because the majority of voters are young. And shit, in some cases, 4 or 5 generations younger than the people that are elected, acting as if they're speaking for these people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Our generation, Marcus, ain't even the majority. It's the millennials and the generation behind them. Millennials already bigger than baby boomers as the largest voting bloc, right, ever. And then the generation behind millennials is going to be bigger than them. And last election cycle, 1 in 10 voter was younger than a millennial.
Mondale, can I say something on that and then give it right back to you?
Okay, go ahead.
Listen, bro, and they expect those generations to turn out for their BS.
Yeah, and that's right, Marcus. And all while they're gaslighting them generation to telling them these kids or these young people, man, I know fucking millennial voters that are grandparents. Think about that.
That's right.
There are millennial voters that are grandparents, and we're still calling them kids. How disrespectful is that? Millennial voters, Marcus, are grandparents, bro.
They are.
And we call them fucking kids. You know what I'm saying? So if you can vote, you shouldn't be referred to as a kid anyway. And the tragedy is they're missing the mark. They don't understand this. So I think as long as they can remain disconnected, all it takes is one millennial or someone younger than Clyburn to run against him with the field program, and he won't be a congressman anymore. And it'll fuck their whole mind up, everybody in DC, because they think he's the black people whisperer. You as a black man from the South, me as a black man from the South, we know Clyburn has shit to do with exciting the black base. Because if you look at the numbers, truly look at the numbers, you will see that when he came out for Joe Biden, he didn't increase black participation from the previous primaries. White people got excited and turned out. White people are surprised that Clyburn, or that they think Clyburn is the black person whisperer.
Clyburn is the white people whisperer.
Exactly. Black people don't follow Clyburn, especially not black people in fucking Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia.
No.
They say, oh, they all lined up after Clyburn. And it's like, y'all don't understand our community at all. At all.
Yo, listen, and not only do they not understand our community, but they are in bigger trouble than, I mean, listen, every single congressperson gets a daily briefing. All of them do. Most of them knew that this border crisis was about to happen or was going on way before it hit the press. Right? Republicans use it as a talking point. Tens of thousands of Haitian people are coming to replace us. Replacement theory. The Republican Party actually got their talking points together before the Democratic Party did. Right? Because Democrats are so used to exactly what you just said. Old school, let's sort of moderate our way through this right here. Right? I'm afraid that a Republican might say that I'm soft on immigration
or law.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem. Let's say that the Republican replacement theory thing is real. Like let's just go there for a second. Then guess what? The math means you win.
The math means you win.
So so what are you doing? Not trying your hardest to let's prove them right then.
Yeah, I'm not for equal space.
Right.
Go ahead, Marcus.
No, so immigration is a real thing. And yes, America has immigration issues, but on the same token, Republican Party, just go ahead and tear down the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, that thought process. Like, stop looking at that as the golden days when nothing but white folks were coming in and seeing the Statue of Liberty and landing at Ellis Island and hunky dory. Life is so sweet again. Life is so all that craziness, man. Make America great again. Like, that was great, right? You want the whiteness to come over because let me tell you one thing. Let me say this right here. Let's look at sort of a European, Spanish, Portuguese country in South America. It's by the name of Argentina. Let's say the black and indigenous Argentinians decide to start messing with the white Argentinians, and white Argentinians started taking the same path north, right? Let's say that happened. Do you think for a second that there will be horses and whips out there? No, there will be bombs in Argentina. They would nip it in the bud. But our Negro whisperers have went ahead and decided that, okay, you know what? We need to speak for the black community and say that they ain't us black people. We like the black people that we have right now. Right? Now, there are some of us who, and they probably changed their tune as soon as the whips came out, right? It's like, can't run from that. Right. But they could have stopped this a long time ago. That's all I'm saying. They had the information, right? You know, so, you know, I want to be very careful and studious about my accusations towards people. I don't know what Jim Clyburn did in this situation whatsoever, but what I do know is that right now the CBC is doing something that most progressives aren't doing, and that's they're actually talking about it, right? So do me a favor, once again, stop calling yourself a progressive if you don't believe in Black issues.
Man, I think that's a wonderful space to start wrapping up this evening's show.
Absolutely.
I think I want to leave, Marcus. You can have the last word, but I want to leave people with a thought. Marcus, I think I talked about this with you last week, maybe, about this post where I call myself lonely.
And got me too.
I think people aren't comfortable with the idea of loneliness, and I think part of that is because the world is giving lonely a negative connotation. But if you look at biblical loneliness, it's what's required for you to be walking in the space that that was made for you. And part of that is because a lot of the times it goes against what people think you should be doing, or how often you can interact with people that you're supposed to love, friends, family, and other people. But I just want to remind people, because so many people aren't lonely in this country, we have bullshit leadership in our elected officials because they care more about popularity, money from rich folk, and not the people or mission that they serve. Motherfuckers will say that they had no other choice but to be a politician because it was their calling, but they show up just like a businessman trying to make money off the campaigns. They don't look like they're giving a fuck about the people. They're not showing up to the Mets with a eat the rich dress on. They're not showing up to work with a fuck you Republicans attitude so as to serve their constituents in a way that is bettering of these people's lives. So I'm saying I wish we had more lonely politicians than these motherfuckers who are so popular.
Amen. Man, well said. I got the last word tonight, and that's hard to follow up, but I do have something that I want to say to everybody. Keep that same energy for Mike Norvell that you did for the Black coach at Florida State, because he has a worse losing record. I don't care. We don't necessarily have to fire him, but just white Florida State fans, y'all keep that same exact energy. That's the first thing. The second thing is, look, go to restorativeroots.net and buy your t-shirt. And third thing is very simple. I am tired of you moderate people trying to not hold this administration accountable. Y'all are whack. And I'm a person who, like, moderates across the country didn't knock on damn door in Georgia. Not one door. You don't know what me and my people did to get y'all that election. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all just accept it. Y'all just don't realize that Stacey Abrams actually created a program that knocks on doors. Not Stacey Abrams is just a woman that you can show up and say voter rights. It's bigger than that. You can't just have voter rights and expect people to vote for voter rights. You have to actually do something, and you moderate people won't even hold your own people accountable, which makes us losers. Because let me tell you something about the Tea Party when they took over. They held their moderate Republicans accountable. They held their do-nothing Republicans accountable for the things that they wanted. And guess what? We are literally still recovering from the hot messness that was the Tea Party. Won't we do something to recover from the hot messness that is the Democratic Party? Like, fix something for once. Won't we try our side of the house? Moderates, won't you try to do something different, like help people, and stop trying to go to moderate white people, whether Republican or Democrat, for your final answer? Go to the people that put you in office, and maybe we'll see some differences. You have been watching Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. Thank you for joining me and Mondale. We love you. We'll be back next Tuesday. I'm going to figure out these buttons real quick, and yeah, peace.
Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, thirst trap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. Yeah. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Yeah. black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily. We still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbait. Yeah. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad. Let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squares up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap squad.